Well, good afternoon, everybody, or should I say good evening. Uh, Welcome to another exciting episode of Graphic Man. I am joined by two really good sports, Eric Breen and Dr. Silverage.
Hey
Hello,
guys.
gentlemen.
How's it going?
Hello.
Uh, that was our little intro. Hopefully, that got everybody in the mood for some good sports. And tonight's episode is going to be a little sport-related, sport-heavy. So hopefully everybody can take that in. Being a collector of comic books, we are akin to a lot of sports collectors, and sometimes we share the same places. When we go to the comic book store, there's a good card section, and sometimes there's a little crossover, and that's a little bit for my sake as well. I'm going to be approaching from a football standpoint, and I think my two guests are primarily going to be baseball. But good evening to everybody in the stands. Instead of saying in the chat, I'll just say in the stands tonight. So we'd like to start off talking about that great Field of Dreams game. For those of you that don't know, over 30 years ago, the movie Field of Dreams happened, and they have built a little stadium out there. And Kevin Costner led the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees out onto the field, and they played an official major league game. And Eric, what did you think of it?
I thought the intro was fantastic. When Costner came out and just slowly walked towards the infield, and then when he got about to the infield, you saw the players come out of the corn.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And the game absolutely lived up to the hype. I mean, went to the last pitch, had a gratifying outcome. Unfortunately, they've been taking it out on the other Sox ever since. But we won't get into that. We won't detract from the
right
how much fun that was.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And what an inning that ninth inning is. I'm going to try not to give any spoilers away, but you can find the ninth inning on YouTube, and it is well worth your look. So give it a look see sometimes.
Well, all I'm going to say is, have you seen the commercial for the one of the cell phones where, with the Spotty network where Stanton's talking to Judge?
I haven't seen it.
And, well, he has, Stanton's going, Aaron, you always look like you're in a groove. How do you do it? And he goes, well, I imagine myself back in Little League, and I just crushed those pitches. And they said, but with a Spotty network, what Stanton heard was, I go back to Little League and I crush those pitches. And they show him hitting a home run off a Little Leaguer. Turns out that was Liam Hendricks. Who knew?
Well, I should have wore a hat today, but I'm wearing a jersey, but that doesn't count. Dr. Silverage, if we can go in tight on your camera, you've got some paraphernalia behind you.
Well, I don't have much by way of cards or anything like that as far as sports goes, but I did have to bring out some stuff that I do have so we could represent the Red Sox up here. One of the oldest things I have is this pennant right here from 1976. She's been with me ever since. Remember buying it at the Lansdowne shop right across from where you went into Fenway Park back in the day. I got all kinds of newspapers from 2004 where they won their first championship, which was really, really special, not just because they won a championship, which I'd been waiting to see since 74, because that's when I got interested in baseball. But I was able to watch the deciding game with my grandfather, who was born in 1918. So that was very, very special night to see him win that with him, because he was a diehard Red Sox fan. And what else do I got? I got a little John Papelbon bobblehead doll from when he was with the Sea Dogs. The Sea Dogs are about probably 45 minutes to an hour north of me. So we try to hit 1 or 2 games a summer up there. What else do I got? More newspapers, another banner, another pennant, old Sea Dogs magazine from 2000. So I mean, I tried to represent a little bit for us anyway, and I got the Red Sox shirt, and there we go. So, but so yeah, the Red Sox, they're always been my team. I did follow I do still follow a little bit the Pittsburgh Pirates because they were another team that me and my brother fell in love with back in the late 70s with, the whole We Are Family, 1979, that whole thing. And now my son has taken up the mantle. He likes the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's it. I've been a pretty much lifelong baseball fan. Just something about the game. I know a lot of people don't like, say it's too slow or whatever. I never found it too slow. I just enjoyed the nuances of the game, the intricacies of the game. Nothing like being at a ballpark on a weekend, a sunny day, watch a game.
I agree. I, as an old football fan, I kind of think they're speeding it up too much. As soon as the play's over, boy, here comes a referee running out of nowhere, grabbing the ball, lining it up, hurrying. Everybody has to, and it's just, wow. In my day, we just huddled up, took our time, called our play. There's nothing wrong with that. So in baseball, it goes over here. You can imagine 1985 was pretty much king where I live, the George Brett era, and the Cardinals versus the Royals World Series and things like that. But yeah, the Red Sox, they've got it going on as of late, but these White Sox look tremendous. Is anybody going to stop them this year?
No, yeah. Tampa Bay has a better record than them.
All right.
Houston has. Houston's off very good. Oakland is very. Anybody that gets in at this point, and I'm starting to unfortunately have my doubts about the Red Sox.
Believe.
They seem to be on a spiral that they can't get out of. But anybody that gets in, I think this year has a chance. I don't think there's one team that is heads and tails. But yeah, last year you kind of knew the Dodgers were going to win. I mean, I know that Atlanta had them down 3-1, and and honestly, Craig Counsell made some questionable managing decisions in that series as well. But once I got to the World Series, I never really thought Tampa Bay had a shot. And and Kevin Cash made some questionable managing decisions. But this year, I don't see that. It's certainly not in the American League. But they are awfully good. I mean, they're ceiling, and I think what's going to get them is Giolito seems to be a lot more hype than substance again this year. And yeah, if you're going to war with, I love Lance Lynn, but I don't trust Giolito, and I'm not sure if I trust Dallas Keuchel. And Carlos Rondon, I think he went on the DL, so I don't know. Like I said, it's awfully good, and they're finally getting some of their position players back.
All right.
Yeah, God, who's the Eloy Jimenez is tough.
Well, Dr. Silverage, what do you think? Who's going to win it all?
Well, I don't know. I think Eric pretty much covered it. I always hope for the Red Sox to be there, but like you said, Tampa Bay is tough, and they've been coming on and just putting us in the rear view. I didn't check the standings today. Did they lose did the Red Sox lose the second game of the doubleheader?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
that was just a long, ugly sports day for me.
wow.
Yeah, the Reds lost also last night, and then they turned around and got stomped by the Cubs. You can't do that if you're trying to continue. You can't lose 2 in a row at home to the Cubs, if you're trying to contend. But yeah, so it's the Red Sox are up 1-0 today. Last I checked.
And early though.
Yeah,
It's early. But they just need Sale to pitch a few more games in the rotation.
well, and they're finally. I was bitching about Rodriguez last time, and he seems to have turned it around. And Evaldi's but that's 3, and then Perez couldn't get the 3 of us out in order. Houck, why the hell did he take him out after 4 innings in game 1? I don't get that.
He wasn't injured or anything either. They didn't say nothing about it. Wasn't didn't have like a blister on his pitching finger or nothing like that.
They said that's what Cora does when Houck pitches in 7-inning games. I don't know what difference that makes, but
Does he try to save him?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, hell, we could have walked less Yankees than the bullpen did yesterday.
Yeah, was not pretty.
No.
But I want you guys to keep going, of course, with this. But I thought I better show a comic book every now and then because I don't want to. Some of our viewers might get a little twitchy eye. So here's a real funny one. If you like good baseball covers. That's an ACG. And here's a football cover from Archie. And I'll show another one, and then we'll start looking at some other things. These are seldom seen.
No, I haven't seen some of those.
Found those on the internet. Thought I'd grab the scans and display them here. Now, Eric, you talked about some magazines. What are you referring to?
Yeah, well, one of my side hobbies was sports magazine collecting. Not really collecting, it kind of just accumulated over the years.
Right.
So I have a handful here to show. I'm going to lead off with the coolest magazine cover of all time. Juggling baseballs while you got a lit heater in your mouth in the dugout. Richie Allen, folks. That it doesn't get any cooler than that.
What year? I'm going to guess
1972.
Oh wow, yeah.
Here is a Reds yearbook from 1957.
Wow.
Let's see. Here's a sport magazine with Ted Klaczewski. I believe that's from 53 or 54.
Oh, these look great.
Yeah, so he was. The only problem is he's got sleeves on. He didn't wear sleeves. He would cut the sleeves out of his uniforms because he had those monster arms. Like in this early Sports Illustrated cover, that's him. Yeah, at the top, sleeveless.
Wow.
Let's see. Someone mentioned that I would be happy to see a Roy Campanella ad in one of the comic books, so I thought I'd get out a Roy Campanella issue of Sport.
Yeah, that was on the back of one of my Dells, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what year this was. I'm going to guess probably 53 also. Here is 1959 Sports Illustrated with one of my favorite all-time players. We share a birthday. Willie Mays. All right, and now I've got a happy sports moment for Rod. Bill Russell driving to the hoop in
Oh.
the year they won it when he was the player coach.
Oh. They win it like what, 9 years in a
11?
row? Like that? 11 years?
Oh, 11 out of however many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because the Cincinnati Royals a lot of times were the second best team in the NBA, but they were also in the East with the Celtics and could never get past them.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. And speaking of guys that put the final nail in the coffin of the Cincinnati Royals, Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy.
The Royals hired him to coach the team, and he got the bright idea to activate himself 7 years after he retired. That didn't go over well. And then he part of the reason why Oscar Robertson was traded. And here's another Bob Cousy cover.
Boy.
Let's see. And yeah, still not as cool as the Richie Allen in the dugout, but a little Broadway Joe.
Eric, these are great.
Doctor, I feel I should apologize in advance.
Uh-oh.
But here's a program from the 1975 World
Oh,
Series.
no.
It's the only time that you and I diverge our paths, is evidenced by the shirt and the hat I'm wearing. And
I was saying earlier to graphic man there that I still think, even though the Red Sox lost, I still think to me it's always going to be the greatest World Series ever.
I agree, and a lot of people. Well, it was the line. I think it might have been Pete Rose that said this. Because, and a lot of people think the Red Sox won that series 3-4 because obviously the memory most fans have is the Fisk home run.
Yeah,
and people forget that there was a game 7 after that.
Right.
I mean, that was I own that World Series. They put it together in a DVD package. And I would have it. I mean, well, I was fine either way because I said, my two favorite teams. I mean, can't lose. But I do know for the Red Sox, it was, heartbreak considering. Yeah, I don't know. 67, no one expected them to get there. And then they pushed St. Louis to 7 games. In fact, I said I was going to ask you, do you own the Impossible Dream DVD from the Red Sox 67 season?
I don't.
It's a 2 DVD set. The first one is a documentary of the season. Wonderful. I mean, just, it was Dick Williams' first year there, and he came in. I said the team was just, completely lackluster, and he, whips him into shape and does the impossible. But
he was a tough guy. Yeah.
But the bonus disc is the clinching game against the Twins, the second to last day of the season. And it's the oldest complete game in color that's available as of this stream.
Wow.
Yeah, because no one thought to save that stuff over the years.
Yeah.
I get that game out and watch it a couple times a year.
I have on VHS, I have a couple of different things with the 75 World Series and stuff like that. And I think I do have a DVD of something about whether it was a documentary or if it was just the highlights or something of the 75 World Series. But man, I remember as a kid being glued. You got to come home, get ready, watch that game. I don't care if the afternoon game, whatever, there was just so much talent on both teams, Hall of Fame talent,
And it was the agony of the 3 days of rainouts.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to be fair, you didn't have Jim Rice.
Right.
Who knows what happens then? Baz, I'm going to take a crack at that. Jimmy Fox.
Only Basil's hairdresser knows for sure. So.
I do not know.
But yeah, I said, but getting back to before I derailed myself, 75, I know is kind of that would have been heartbreaking. I know it's heartbreaking for Red Sox fans. Wow, more modern. I'll have to go a little more. Jim Rice, throw his name out there again. No, it couldn't be an outfielder. That's a good question. But I said, if the Reds had lost that series after losing in 70 and 72, there's no big red machine. So I mean, it's like almost like they needed it more. God, they should have won more than those two. Thanks, Bob Housen. That's a great for another day.
I mean, that was just after the end of the brief Oakland dynasty, of course, So, I mean, and I just remember you had coming in, we had the Goldust twins there, Fred Lynn, Jimmy Rice. But there was so many other people that don't get credit. Bernie Carbo hit a clutch home run in I think it was Game 6 to tie it up. I think it was at one point. There was just so much talent. Yaz and Petrocelli. Oh my gosh,
the Hawk. Hey, he was a big help for the rest of that year. And had a great 68, and then 69 was gone.
Yeah, I see. That was before I didn't get into baseball till 74. But I remember Harrelson. He was the color guy for the Red Sox, along with Dick Stockton. Those were the first voices I heard for the Red Sox. So to me, they're always, they're the ones I always loved. Orsillo and Remy were right up there too.
Seriously, and I realized you were talking 75, and I went back to 67. But I've never liked Remy.
No,
I'm not sure if he was instrumental in getting Orsillo run. Because there was something behind that. To some reason, I mean, he left under less than ideal circumstances. And I think he's out in San Diego now.
Yeah, he went to San Diego. Wound up in San Diego. But I always thought they had great chemistry together.
Remy was kind of I mean, great guy, nice guy, knows baseball. I mean, that part was okay, but when they would talk about things and everybody knew exactly what was going on except for Remy, and he would just keep getting more belligerent. And it'd be like, no, Jerry, that's okay. It's like this, and you just keep going and going. But then again, I'm never happy with Cincinnati announcers either, so maybe I'm just crabby. I don't know.
I think we might have an answer to that trivia question now.
All right, guys. I got the answer for you. Oh, yeah. That would be the one and only Johnny V. Yeah, it's Johnny V. Johnny Valentine.
Oh, my gosh.
I wouldn't have gotten that in a month of Sundays.
Wow, no, I wouldn't have either. Wow.
Yeah, I love Johnny V. He was solid. I seen my dad's side of the family is all from originally the north end of Boston, and then they moved out to Milton, and then from Milton out to Plymouth. So big Red Sox fan. My Uncle Joseph, my dad's older brother, gave haircuts to the Red Sox. He was quite a number of them their barber. It was quite known that the guys would leave. They would go to Fenway and take batting practice, and then when they wanted to get really cleaned up and sharp, they would take off and drive into Milton, which I'm sure Dr. Silverage, you might know that area pretty good. I know it pretty good because I stood out there for a while. But, it's about depending on traffic, maybe a 15-minute drive. And they would go to my uncle's little barber shop in Milton. And they would get their hair cut there. And it was a secret. Like that they swore, everybody swore not to make a big deal of it. So I only seen Wade Boggs come into my uncle's shop one time. That was the only guy I ever seen him walk in and shook his hand and was like, wow. I was like, I think like 13 years old. I never seen anybody else, but on my uncle's door, on his barber shop, were, you name it, Carl Yastrzemski, any player that went in there would sign my uncle's his door. My cousin John still has the door. When my Uncle Joe passed away, well, actually we kept it stood in the family. His son ran it for a good while, but his son became ill. My cousin, he became ill and passed away after about 10 years. And then we were going to keep the barbershop going with a family friend, but he ended up being, not really wanting to do it. And so we just went ahead and closed it down. And we kept the door. We kept a couple of the barber chairs and the barber pole out front. My cousin John has them all. It's crazy. I love the Red Sox. I grew up with them, man. I mean, I was 86 killed me, man. It was 86 against the Mets. That was murder.
I wasn't going to mention
murder.
that.
But since you did,
That was
Oh,
murder.
no.
let me take a moment to say that Bill Buckner got a bad rap because he had no business being
Sure.
in that game. He should have been. There had to be a better defensive option. The man couldn't reach down and touch his toes. Not a good thing if you're a professional baseball player. And in a clinching game of a World Series. And let's not forget the 3-0 lead they up in Game 7.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
unfortunately, everybody remembered Buckner. I love it the first time in 2004 when they said, how do you feel that Boston fans have forgiven you? And Buckner, I think in 2004 said, F that. Yeah, it took him a few more
I
years
agree
to
with
come
them.
around to that. It should have.
I agree with them. How would you want to put it? At the time, it was easy to be hot at them. As a kid, I remember I was hot. But as I became older, I felt, I remember just a few years after that, I pitched for a long time until I hurt myself. And I myself was pretty beat up and got pretty beat up in a game. And I felt real bad, and I could understand how, crushing that would be. And I mean, you look at Bill Buckner's numbers now. I mean, he's borderline a Hall of Famer,
Mhm.
and for him to get raked over the coals like that, I mean, yeah, it was a bogus play, man. I mean, it had to crush him. He has to think about that constantly. I'm sure he forgives himself, and everybody's forgotten him because now we're perennials. That's the thing. As a Red Sox fan and a family of Red Sox fans, me and my father, and if you guys are fans too, okay, I can't tell you the last person before 2004 that seen the Red Sox win a World Series was my grandfather, my dad's dad. And he was a pretty fresh immigrant off the boat from Italy. And the only reason why he's seen is because, they pried open something there off of Yawkey Avenue and were peeking in, watching the game. That was the last person. And since then, almost all my dad's brothers passed away, except for his youngest brother, and but all the rest had passed away. So it was only me and my father, and of course all my cousins and my uncle's kids and stuff. But we during 2004, man, I mean, I was calling cross country talking to my dad and talking to my cousins and just like unbelievable. And I had given up completely on them. I mean, I was done. I wouldn't even watch the ALCS, and then I didn't even watch the playoffs. It wasn't until we won the playoff games that I turned on the TV and World Series. I was sure that I was positive that they would win the World Series. So, but I had written them off in 2004. I was just like, dude, I don't even want to hear it. And then I would get a phone call from my dad telling me, oh, Poppy brought us back. And you know what? There needs to be a bronze statue in front of Fenway Park of Poppy, man. Period. Like they got Babe Ruth from us. We got Poppy.
Yeah, that
I'm diehard Sox fan, man.
Aaron Bleeping Boone replaced Bucky Bleeping Dent in 2003. Then you get back the next year, and the Yankees are beating you again, 3-0. Game 3, 19-8, and we can laugh about it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tape games, and I'd get all bent out of shape, and like I killed a Carolina game once when they were down 24, and they got it down. They tied the game, so I kept games 1, 2, and 3. Usually, I would have just made a production out of breaking them over my knee or something, but I taped game 4, and then I had to wait. Gotta tell you, has there ever been a Yankee Red Sox game that didn't last longer and didn't last 5 hours or more? It seemed like forever to get to that, and then I said, and it's 3-1. That big deal. They staved it off for one day, and then they kept winning. I mean, that's just like, as a graphic. I said, I don't know if you have an equivalent in your sports rooting life, but I can't tell. I said, I wouldn't have even been all that upset if they lost the World Series, because what they did to the Yankees, unprecedented. Exposed A-Rod as the little bitch that he was at the time.
Little punk.
Yep. And it just, like I said, it was 4 days of absolute bliss. And then they just, took out 2 World Series worth of frustrations on the Cardinals and just beat them like a drum. And which made that
beautiful.
8 days of bliss.
For a
lot
of us, them just beating the Yankees, that was like, I don't care if they do lose the World Series now, but we knocked them out. That was the attitude around here.
Yeah, my brother told me that for the first time about a year ago. He goes, I would have been okay if they'd lost the World Series because the playoffs were so satisfying. And I said, screw that. I wanted it all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
And eventually we did, but we couldn't get over that hump, with Bucky Dent and all that stuff and 86 and oh my gosh, just couldn't get over that hump. And to see him do that, it was just like, yes, you know what? We might not win the World Series, but you know what? They're not going to win the World Series this year.
Did you damn, lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me.
Let me quickly jump in and show another comic book cover because I fear some of our viewers can't handle what we're doing. They want to see funny books, and I understand. This is comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some cheating going on. More cheating. And this one is the 3 on there, Mussolini, Hitler, and Tojo.
Oh, that's awesome. That's about as old as my hat.
And we'll get from the 70s here. If you're dating the coach and a player, you've kind of got problems. So
I saw that book yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. fact, it's in the other room right now.
I don't have any cheerleader covers, except
remember,
a few Betty and Veronica's.
I was going to ask you, Doc. I might have asked you this already. Did you read the Bill Simmons book? Yeah, I Can Die Now, or I Can Die in Peace, or whatever that was about the 2004 season?
No.
Well worth it.
Really?
Well, I'm a huge Bill Simmons fan. And that book is just it's like if just an everyman. Yeah, that's kind of how he was as a writer, and just I was like the ultimate fan winning the ultimate prize and everything that happened along the way. Great book.
Oh, I'll have to pick that up. What was the name of it?
The Bill Simmons, I think it's Now I Can Die in Peace, I think is what it's called. It's a play on that. I Can Die Now, but it's
right.
When I gotta get another stack of magazines, I'll grab it and show it.
Dr. Silverage has told me that he's got to get out early. He's got a big start in the morning. So why don't we switch it over to him and let him show us a few things?
Absolutely. I'm going to bug out of here. I just thought I'd jump in on that Red Sox thread. It was nice talking to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Nice
Good to see you. Glad you could come aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, I picked up. I was racking my brain there the last couple of days trying to figure out some sports oriented books to show, and the best I could come up with was Brave and the Bold did a bunch of the strange sports stories. So this is number 45.
I love that cover.
And then we got number 46, the basketball theme.
Well, they're really soaring through the air.
And we go to the squared circle. A little boxing action. Hard to hit a guy you can't touch.
Yeah, he didn't lay a glove on me.
No, sir. And then Indianapolis Speedway. Look out. Whoops. Hey, come back here. All right.
Jaunty.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it. It's even got the little checkered flag there for you.
And then back to baseball. You got to have a gorilla cover with a.
I was getting ready to ask, do you have that one? Because that's the one I always see. And it's just hilarious.
Yep.
Oh, he's safe easily.
What DC editor loved gorillas?
Yeah.
And then the last one I found was Strange Sports Stories, but it's superheroes against the villains. Little baseball theme.
Nice.
Now, I looked through that one when you showed me the cover the other day, and that is the most ridiculous story. Let's come up with a reason for everybody to play a game.
Let's be honest, there's a lot to choose from at DC in those days. So that's
Marvel really didn't do that. I mean,
no.
Right after they introduced the Black Panther, the Fantastic Four are having a little baseball game, but that's about it.
Well, the X-Men used to. They would play baseball in between big adventures sometimes, and one of the Avengers annuals led off with
Hawkeye
game,
always wanted that,
but it was never the plot of a story.
No.
Yeah, so like I said, there was some weird stuff at DC in those days.
Yeah, you'd love to hear the story about how'd you come up with a gorilla sliding into home plate? How'd you come up with that story? It's just like, I guess maybe they were big in the science fiction movies and stuff, with the gorilla monsters and whatnot.
And a gorilla's legs are small, short, and squatty. His strike zone must be almost impossible to find if you're a pitcher.
He's pretty big dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cousin
gonna
to
tell him
King
he's
Kong
out?
or something. What's that?
So are you going to tell him he's out?
No.
If it's Angel Hernandez, he'll just miss the call anyway.
We got proof. His foot's on the bag. Ball's still on the way. No neighborhood play here.
Yeah, the umpire had an easy call there.
Yeah, that was an easy one. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I got to leave a little early. So, really enjoyed the thing so far. I hate leaving, but I could sit and talk the old baseball days. That's my wheelhouse was like the 70s and the 80s, late 90s. But I just love the sport. Haven't gotten into it. Got away from it the last couple years, but trying to get back into it this year. Actually, courtesy of you, Eric, keeping me abreast of what's going on with them. And that ever since I started following them, they're losing again.
It's hard if you're from our generation. It has kind of become a tough watch because since the suits took over, everything is about exit velocity and launch angle, and you hear guys that are 0 for 20, but they're checking their exit velo, and it's like, who cares? You're 0 for 20.
Yeah,
and it's all strikeouts and home runs. It's just I've never seen somebody throwing to the wrong base, just base running blunders, out the wazoo. It's just, but when it's done well, it's still the best game out there, and you can be watching. I said, both of us have been fans for more than 50 years, and you're still going to see something you've never seen, at least once a week. It's what makes that sport so enjoyable.
I used to love, and I'm sure you were the same way, used to love This Week in Baseball.
How about that?
There you go. And just to see the highlight reel, when they does the how about that with all those plays, I'm telling you, I played softball for 25 years. I wore the number 7. I wore the number 7 for the Rooster, Rick Burleson, who played shortstop for the Red Sox, because he was a fighter. He was a dirt dog. He would, if he thought he had any kind of chance of getting that ball, he was on the ground diving for it or whatever. And that's how I loved to play the game. They used to call me Pigpen, because if I didn't get dirty, it wasn't a game, But I just love watching infield plays. I still marvel at when they go into the hole towards third and come up and over the top and still make the. I don't know how some of them guys can do that. I've tried it, and it ain't that easy, But I just love those plays, those ones where they flip it with the glove or something like that.
Yeah.
Me and my brother used to do that on the softball field. It's just so much fun. I really enjoy it, and those are tremendous athletes doing that.
Yeah, we had a great shortstop when I was growing up, Dave Concepcion.
Yep, Dave Concepcion.
And unfortunately, he can't get a sniff of Cooperstown because he just kind of got lost in the shuffle with the Big Red Machine. Everybody remembers Johnny and Joe.
Right.
Pete, if he hadn't, bet on everything he could bet on.
Yeah.
Sparky, and then eventually Tony Perez. And it's unfortunate because I think the only difference between Dave Concepcion and Ozzie Smith is Ozzie might have been a little bit of a better fielder. Davey was a better hitter, but Davey couldn't do a backflip.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there weren't too many bad players on that Cincinnati Reds team back then.
No.
So, there's nothing to hang your head about there. He really should be in. I have a soft spot for shortstops, so I just think it's one of the coolest positions to play. You get a lot of action. You're involved in a lot of stuff, and I just love watching those highlight reels. I must have probably a dozen video VHS tapes of just those little clips from the This Week in Baseball, Twib notes or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
that now speaking of Mel Allen, I don't know if you're a fan of vintage games, what few there are available, but someone dug up games 6 and 7 from the 52 World Series and posted them in their entirety on YouTube. And Mel Allen and Red Barber are the announcers.
That wasn't Larson's game, was it?
No, that was 56.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know where they found these, but they're wonderful. I mean, it's they're intact. I think the only thing they didn't get were the pregame for one of the two, but I said the games are there, and I think those are the oldest complete games of any kind, color or black and white that are available. But definitely worth the watch if you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do. I love when they show the stuff from the 70s. My son, it's funny because my son's a big baseball fan, and he'll watch it and say, "Oh no, I can't watch that old film." He says, "Can't watch the film footage." He says, "It's got to be on video." I said, "But I see it, and man, I'm telling you, it just takes me right back. I can remember being a kid. We'd watch the games, and then couldn't wait to get out there on the field after school." And just a bunch of us neighborhood kids, we'd be about probably 15 of us. We'd go up and play up at the ballpark, and man, we had a ball, just incredible. And I always marveled at those guys for the athletes they are, and even now they're even more of an athlete, I think, today with all the training and all that stuff like that, the advancements and all that. I mean, they are just incredible. But I just love the dirt dog style player,
I think they're definitely more athletic, better players. I'm not sure. I think their athleticism gives the illusion that it does. But I think that the players in our generation and even the ones before, I think we're better baseball players because you learned how to play the game because you didn't have the freakish athleticism to overcome your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it. There's guys who could have played in any era, and if these guys had played back then, they probably they would have been like the guys that we're marveling over from our youth. And same as if you took those guys from our youth and put them in today, they would have had the same training, nutrition advantages that these guys have. Travel. I mean, first class plane's a lot easier than a train.
Yeah.
So that's trains and buses. So that's So that's it's really an apples and oranges question or discussion, I guess. But
I'm sure it's different. We all know the ball's different and all that stuff. It's not the exact same game as it used to be, and of course you don't have. I miss the when they used to have teams like 75 before. I lost what it was called. When the players
free agency.
Free agency. There you go. Before free agency, I understand the need for it, but I miss those teams where the players stayed together and became, a powerhouse, but.
Well, it definitely free agency definitely cut into the Reds.
I think it cut into everybody.
Of course, the bigger problem originally was, 1965, Bill DeWitt traded Frank Robinson. The excuse he gave was that he was an old 30. The reality was he was the wrong color. 11 years later, they pulled the same, he's an old on Tony Perez. Now, to Bob Housem's credit, he says the biggest mistake he ever made wasn't owning an original AFL franchise, but trading Tony Perez. Because they traded, one of their top relievers for Woody Fryman and a guy named Dale Murray. Woody Fryman walked out on the team and went back to his farm. And then he ended up pitching 5 more years for somebody else. He just hated it here. And it took the Reds 14 years to win another one. That had nothing to do with any of these guys. But had they not traded Perez and still had picked up Seaver, that would have been a juggernaut for years to come. Then it wouldn't have mattered that Bowie Kuhn wouldn't or vetoed the Vita Blue trade. As a Red Sox fan, you can appreciate that because remember the picture of Joe Rudy and Raleigh Fingers sitting in your dugout?
Yeah.
And
We were all excited about that. Holy mackerel, we're going to get these guys. That's just what we need. We're going to, and then what happened? What? He vetoed it? What?
Competitive balance clause, I think, is what Kuhn used to.
It was, that sounds very familiar. Competitive balance.
And then New York, you want to go sign everybody in baseball? Knock yourself out. Can't trade to make yourself better, but we'll let you buy them all.
Yep. It was just, I remember being so mad as a kid when that happened.
You realize it had nothing to do with competitive balance. It had everything to do with Bowie Kuhn's hatred of Charlie Finley. And any chance he had to stick it to him, he took.
Yep, all political.
We just paid for him as fans.
In the chat, Bronco was hoping for a Matter Eating Lad cover where he's eating baseball equipment. I don't have that, and I can't even picture it in my mind. But I will show Superman 66, where he's hitting the ball right back to the pitcher. And if he's not careful, he could take the guy's head off or his kneecap. And here's a good from the 1940s. Let me go full screen. I don't know what Porky's upset about. After all, Bugs went ahead and signed it for him, so it should be a fair trade. This is 1948. And that is a very old-looking Bugs there. And Dr. Silverage, you showed a little race car action earlier, so here's Donald in a race.
There we go.
So don't worry, everybody. We're going to keep showing comics.
And unfortunately, I have to get going. I want to thank you again, not only for letting me come back on again, but I want to thank you. These are tremendous. I mean, I can't wait to get these babies framed. I mean, they are awesome. Whoops. So, but I wanted to thank you again, and I'm working on. I got a little something coming your way.
Oh, that's great.
All righty.
I just want to show you a couple of these things here. The Possible Dream book.
Oh, nice. I
especially the baseball cards as the cover. There's a book on the history of the AFL, and all the photos are AFL, trading cards, and I love that. And here's the Bill Simmons book. Now I Can Die in Peace.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to pick
one of the
that up.
best sports books I've ever read.
Oh, cool. I'll definitely be hunting that down. So appreciate that. Thank you. So, all right, guys, I'll catch up with you hopefully next week.
All right.
Well, make sure you catch the end of the episode. I got a little funny thing to show near the end. So,
oh yeah, I'll be watching the rest of it tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Have a good one.
All right, take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody in the chat. Take care now.
Eric Gratu will be in shortly. Before we stopped, you were showing magazines, and you showed one And I don't know if we got talking, but you didn't tell us who it was. The last one you showed.
The last one I showed was the World Series cover.
Yeah, there it is. There it
Yeah,
is.
Louis
Okay.
Tiant and Johnny Bench. I figured if I went into too much detail, I didn't want Rod to start bawling.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, the World Series winning cover was one of the things that got stolen when I got broken into. But this one was in another room, so they didn't get that.
Fantastic. Do you have a lot more magazines?
I do. Laying around somewhere and around. If Gratu can stand it once he comes on, so you're not sitting there with dead air or having to tell stories to yourself, I'll go dig a few more out.
All right. Well, let's see. Just missing on battery life. No, if oh, so it never did happen. Yeah, that would be a whimsical him eating especially when them 1970s aluminum bats. That'd be great. By the way, Eric, what is your opinion of aluminum bats?
Well, I'll tell you. Did you see the Chris Bassett incident last night?
No, no.
He's the ace of the Oakland A's staff, and I don't even remember who the batter was. Line drive right in the face. He tried to get his glove up in time. It was coming at him so fast he couldn't get there in time. And it was ugly. I mean, he was bleeding through the towel they had put up against his face. And good news is he's okay. He broke his cheekbone, but he's already had his vision tested. It's still 20/20. And he's going to be okay. Now, whether or not that leaves scars between his ears, I don't know how it couldn't. It's somebody that's been hitting the eye with a line drive, hitting the mouth with a thrown ball. It sticks with you. And I don't care if you're a 8-year-old schmo in the backyard or a professional making millions of dollars. It sticks with you.
I had a plastic Kansas City Royals helmet, and boy, those come in handy for church softball. And as far as things coming right at you, they always stuck me at third base, and boy, I hated that. You talk about so many balls just come straight at you so fast. I don't know how a third baseman survives.
Yeah, it's
to make it escaped.
Yeah, because I said people don't realize how hard softballs can come at you.
Yeah.
Even slow pitch softball. I mean, you get a hold of one, and I said, I said I wanted no part of the infield.
Well, I played high school football. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and so let me show a football cover here. This is the Tom Brady pedigree because of the air deflating, and I mean that with all love. I'm not one of these anti-Tom Brady guys. Here's a nice little baseball. Playing catch with the boys. And sometimes you give a gift to the other people, but the gift is really for your benefit. And sometimes you may have received a gift that people really hope that you use it just for them. So the boys want Donald to be their referee. Tell you what, why don't I go ahead and show a couple of football cards?
Dad.
We'll start with Mike Ditka.
Ditka.
And a great crew cut. Next to him is tea drinker Dandy Don Meredith. and Fran Tarkington. There's Jack Kemp. And then he became a senator. Was the vice president candidate under Bob Dole. Dwayne Thomas. He would not speak after a while. And there's George Blanda, a kicker and quarterback. Rare combination. Oh, you Little House on the Prairie fans will recognize Merlin Olsen. This is before the beard.
Those are nice.
I don't know if you'd be allowed to have a beard back then. They had to fight for the right to have a mustache. Joe Namath started wearing one. There's All-Pro John Hanna and Buck Buchanan. And Ed Too Tall Jones, Dick Butkus, Buck Buchanan. He's around 1969, 1970. Let me start with Tom Dempsey. This is a great shot because he doesn't have a complete foot.
Yeah.
And he used to have the record of longest field goal until that guy in Denver, where they thin air, he finally broke the record. There's Mr. Simpson and Randy White. Gonna let Gratu in while I show a few more. Marvin Upshaw. And my quarterback, Lenny Dawson. I'll take a timeout here, and we'll talk to Gratu. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing well.
Yeah, I've been watching. Just my wife made some amazing food. Just finishing that. I found some. I wasn't able to find that box of creepies, but if you can find stills of those creepy issues and put them up. But I've got some other sports comics. Some that came in today. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. So you got some opportune comics came in right on time.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, some lady came in today with a tub of comics, and I was listening to her talk to the owner, and I was like, my mouth was getting dry, and I felt like I was going to have heart failure because hot stuff. The only people that come in here are like wanting tattoos, and this, we don't, sell many Archies. It's like everything that I liked. He's like, it's like romance, and it's like, anyway, he wound up buying it for $30. This tub of comics, which are mostly beat up, but yeah.
Speaking of Archie,
so anyway, there are a few sports.
You showed this Archie the other day, and I got to dig it around. Yeah, I got that with that great image on top of them playing.
Oh, yeah, that is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that panel is inside the comic.
Yeah, it sure is.
So that panel, the panel inside needs to be turned into one of your posters.
I don't know what I would do with it.
Well, I would display it proudly, but I don't, not that I have any wall room space.
That's my trouble.
Okay, so when I first walked in today, there was a box in front of the store, and they were throwing out a bunch of like baseball cards and sports cards and stuff and sell. So I grabbed some. I don't even. Do you know? I don't even know who this is. But I'll show some comics, but this must be completely worthless. But it's in a little display thing. I guess it's some kind of lenticular thing. Shit.
Hologram. Yeah.
Even work. I think he needs to be light behind it. Yeah, Kerry Collins, apparently. I don't know who that is. You guys might know. Anyway, that's spectacularly unfun because it must be worthless. It was priced something at one time. And they're throwing these away. They were priced $4 at one. Oh, there's stuff falling out. Excuse me. The Tennessee Titans must not be a very well-liked team because they were throwing this away. I've never heard of them in my life. I don't know.
They used to be the Houston Oilers.
Oh, okay. Really?
They moved. Yep.
Okay, so let's see what I got. Well, anyway, so I wound up taking home like 26 of the, because I heard him say, Boris Karloff, most kids today don't even know who that is. He's going, oh, shit, you got to buy these. Anyway, I've got like 26 of them. I'll show them probably the next episode. But here's there was one that's Betty and Veronica that's got a football cover. Is Archie on the team? No, the team is on Archie.
Excellent.
So that's one that came in.
Grazia, if you want to show the ones you got today, since Rod
I
left,
got him here.
We can segue back over to comics if that's all right with Graphic.
Yeah, I don't want to derail the show.
No.
There's the basketball one. I feel bad that I didn't find the Warren Creepies, but they had sports issues. There was one. So you think basketball, so he thinks girls playing basketball.
Yeah.
What else?
No, I don't know if you can hear me, but anything you want to show is great. I have a stack of old Journey into Mystery standing by just in case we ran out of sports.
Cool. So, the other day, who was it? Was it Lead Paint? Either in my stream or your stream was saying that he had a letter published in the NOM. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think it was Christopher Schneider, but
okay, could have been, but I think they said issue 7 or 9. I found issue 9. No, I found issue 9. But so if he's in this, but I think it was 7.
Oh,
I didn't know they had the Marvel superheroes.
Lead Paint says it was him.
I can't see the chat, so. Oh,
it was Lead.
Was it 7 or 9 Lead Paint? I know, but was it issue 7 or 9? Because if it was this one, then we could read his letter. But I don't know. Anyway, I never knew the Marvel superheroes went to Vietnam. I know Iron Man was born in Vietnam, but that's kind of interesting. Kind of like an Invaders
like
Vietnam era style. Too.
Thor was in Vietnam, I think, for issue number 117 or something like that.
Oh, that's right. I have that issue. Yeah. Okay. Well, it would make sense. Captain America would be there too. But okay. What else did I get? Picked up some stuff. This isn't from those noms. Were not from the pile the lady brought in. I'm showing the sports stuff. Then I'll show you the stuff the lady brought in. Yeah. And there's still a bunch of stuff there that I'll pick up at a later date. I just said, hey, I'll come in an hour early the next 2 days I work, and so that because I was alphabetizing all these different Batman titles that have come out over the years that were just completely getting everything. It's all chaotic. Well, I picked up The Undertaker. I guess what's issue 7. Okay, so that's not the right one. So anyway, The Undertaker, I guess that qualifies as sports, sort of. It's this era when these people were wrestling. As I recall, this guy here, his favorite music he listens to all year is Christmas music, and he's written children's books, and he's an expert on the Civil War. And a lot of these wrestlers are actually very intelligent and interesting people outside of the ring. But I like this wrestling move here, where the guy's head is. I don't know if you can see, but I need to hold this just right. That light is really bad today. It's just his head's being obliterated. So this isn't a very family friendly comic, you know. It's from Chaos Comics.
That was what helped put them out of business.
Yeah.
Is it?
They
Being
signed a bunch
unfair.
of licensing deals and couldn't pay for them, and then they expanded too quickly, and it just took the whole line with it.
Oh, I see. Where was that? The Lady Death Company?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's no more Lady Death comics coming out now.
Oh no, Brian Pulido does. He does them, and one of the companies has the rights to it, and somehow I think Pulido gets to do them also.
I just picked this up for like nothing, but I have a childhood copy of this. This is not my childhood copy. That would be in better shape, but rather than go looking for it, you know, this was super cheap. And this, I remember buying this as a kid, and I have that Strange Sports with the superheroes. I didn't even think about that one. So I like this subscription ad where Plop is very prominent. Those were better days. So yeah, Strange Sports continued on from Brave and the Bold. That was issue 4. And I have not opened these yet. I just picked these up because I had created a sports section, and it almost was like perfect because then I just went to the sports section and pulled out the ones that looked the most interesting. Well, there's another wrestling. I thought I pulled a comic, but you've seen it a million times at every quarter bin, where it's like part of the, what was it, the Marvel New Universe, where they had a group of superheroes that were a football team or something.
Kickers Inc.,
It was,
I think.
Yeah, Marvel working with NFL. I mean, I could.
Oh, there's a book called NFL Super Pro also.
I think it might have been Kickers Incorporated. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the New Universe title.
Yeah, it was a New Universe. So. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, I guess. It's like nothing. It's just this kind of stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. I must have like a bunch of sports comics, but now I realize it's starting to bring out the obsessive in me. I have boxes with themes. You know, I started a Christmas box, and now I figure maybe I should have a sports box and a fall box, and then you can do these theme shows so much more easily without having to Sting's greatest battle.
I was a huge Sting fan.
Yeah, it's just I wasn't really aware of these comics were produced. What year is this? This is mid-90s probably,
Or early.
I can't even read. Earlier. Man, I can't read.
Eric, did you ever see Sting back when he had, you know, the surfer hair and all that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was actually his original tag team partner was the guy who went on to be the Ultimate Warrior.
Right. I thought if they were going to make a good movie about Captain America versus the Super Patriot, I thought Sting would have made a good Super Patriot. He kind of had that look.
This smells like perfume.
Oh, really?
This comic. I don't know why. It must have been owned by a girl. I hope. But it smells not like old comics, but like perfume. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, I'll. Do you want me to show this pile now?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, it's just what I picked up, and there's more. I'm gonna, I put in a special box that I'll get later. None of them are in very good condition, but I always like Archie protest covers. Yeah, it used to be fighting pollution. Then it became that we're going to have a new ice age. I remember that.
Yeah.
Then it became global warming, and then it started to get cold, so they changed it to climate change. And they don't want you to ever realize that happened. Got Werewolf by Night 24. Not a good copy. It's probably like one issue off from the Moon Knight appearance. When was the first Moon Knight?
32.
Yeah.
32.
Good.
Yeah, I bought it almost every single month, Werewolf by Night, but I didn't buy this one, and I didn't buy the Moon Knight one. But, it's got the Marvel value stamp. And
Good.
And again, I've said this a million times. This is the one book that changed my life. But, it's a perfectly good reading copy, and that's what you're supposed to do with comics.
I agree.
War is Hell, which is basically kind of like Marvel's weird. Well, it's not really Weird War, because I don't think it's more of it kind of is, in that Death is such a proactive character in it. But, this later morphed into a Sergeant Fury reprint book. But, War is Hell. I remember I bought the first issue off the stands. And then this might be an upgrade of the copy I already have, which is Atlas Seaboard's attempt to do a war comic, which I think is pretty hard to find. Savage Combat Tales, featuring Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad, which I always liked this line of comics, because I felt like, hey, I was born too late to be there. All started, so now I have my chance. But the comics only lasted 3 or 4 months. But it felt weird, because when you read the color comics, they felt a little too adult, because they hired someone from Warren that supervised the Warren. Well, more adult than Cody approved, and then he was to supervise the color comics. And then they got someone that was used to doing color comics to supervise Atlas Seaboard's black and white comics. So everything was weird, but it just felt weird, because it jumped up from Marvel and DC, and then you'd have ads that just looked a little too provocative in the books. That's their Vampirella, she was the sorceress. And but I remember this ad Jim Steranko put in here for his magazine. Oh, and those the next year, those Steranko books would change my life. But I just remember seeing, Planet of the Apes and all these different Mr. Spock things that I worshipped at the time. And here's Woodstock Like Festival. Just mostly Archie kind of stuff. I've got that light in a very obnoxious place today. There's the girls all hanging out.
Well, there goes bell bottoms.
I wonder
Wow.
what it would have been like if they'd actually put Betty and Veronica into that Sabrina Netflix TV show. That would have been interesting. Here's the Beagle Boys, and it's got that 16-page fun catalog, which is has the SSP racers, and yeah, these catalogs are always fun. They would come out right before Christmas time, so that you could bug your parents that you wanted this stuff. I remember I never had a toothbrush holder, Snoopy toothbrush holder, but yeah. Okay. I'm probably boring you guys. It's nothing really spectacular.
Not even a little bit.
No, these are great books.
I think our new teacher is using psychological warfare on us. Students I have flunked. Sad sack 222. Wait, what's happening there? Oh, it's going right into his
Yeah.
yeah. All right. I really like I've always loved little Archie, and look at this little Sabrina, that cute little witch. It's just now there's a lad who takes his hobby seriously. You look at these Archie comics now and just realize how lecherous Archie was. It's like,
Yeah.
it was almost like you die, Amerikaner. No, he is not your enemy. He is your father. Fighting army. Yeah, I heard him saying, fighting army, there's not much call for people to oh shit. Here's a Sabrina that has a date stamp. That's 4 days before my 10th birthday. And there's 70s hot stuff. There was only one hot stuff. There was some Richie Riches. I'll go back for them. No one's going to be buying those. They're not in very good shape. The ones I have here were the ones that were in the best shape. And then there's the Gold Key horror stuff, Grimm's Ghost Stories. I always thought that was just an amazing. It looks more like a photograph, like it's a photograph of a mask. If it's a painting, it's really good. Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery.
Now, how many Boris did you say you picked up?
How many what?
How many Boris Karloffs did
What
you
did
say
you
you picked up?
I heard you say, how many horrors did you pick up?
Oh.
That can't be what he just said.
I was talking fast. I said
how
Boris.
How many Boris Karloffs?
Yeah.
There's just that one and this one. It wasn't a very big collection. That's really a great cover. It was a plastic tub about this big, and I probably picked up a third of it and brought it home, and the others are there, and I'll get them soon.
So actually,
I'm almost done. This is Grimm's Ghost Stories.
The LCS guy where you work must have said, well, we don't get much call for whores anymore. Yeah, with the Spotty Network, that's what
Well, he did
crap
say
you heard.
he did.
Yeah.
Well, he did say, I know it's cutting out. He did say about hot stuff, well, the preacher comes in here, they're gonna be upset with this devil comic, but he was kidding. But I guess it's a technique to kind of get them to not want as much. I realized that, but it was bothering me because I was thinking, what if she just walks out? I couldn't really see because it was on the other side of the store. I didn't realize how that these were this recent. When I say recent, I mean 70s, because I was picturing it was stuff from the 60s. I'm going, oh shoot, she got him. But anyway, it's just so he just got it for $30, and then the last is this Charlton Attack, Kamayoto's Last Stand. You cannot defeat me, you fools. My island will withstand any kind of attack. So that's
unfortunately, that can backfire on you, though. I found that out with the lady that had stuff from the early 60s. I was honest. Yeah, because it was stuff like Herbie and Beverly Hillbillies and things like that. And I mean, it was like Christmas morning for me, but I just didn't know where the market was. So I was trying to lay the groundwork for her to understand she wasn't going to get a whole lot for them. But she hasn't been back yet.
Right.
She's had plenty of time. So that's kind of, she brought in like a sampling of what she had.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, so people don't buy that stuff up there either, huh? It only takes one person. I've had people come in for Archie comics. The owner doesn't realize it because he works 2 days a week. He's given the store pretty much to his daughter, but I'm there when a lady was in just 4 or 5 days ago looking for Archie. I showed her where the section. She wanted to show Archie to her daughter or granddaughter because they only knew it from, they were watching Riverdale, and she says, that was a comic I read when I was a kid, and they said, nah, and so she wanted to show them what this comic people don't, this stuff, people will buy this stuff eventually.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is you don't see a lot of it come in anymore because you were saying how you were thinking it would be the 60s, but it was the 70s. Even that's almost 50 years old now. And when people find stuff laying around that's been sitting around for 30 years, that's late 80s, early 90s now. So, I mean, the odds of finding stuff from the 50s and 60s, I mean, that's 60 and 70 years ago. There's may not be that many of them out there that isn't already sitting online or on route to auction houses.
Well, one angle that could have upset the lady is it turned out, she said they were her husband's, and he says, well, so he's just getting rid of them, and she says, well, he passed away. So it's like, oh, well, so you insult the comics too much, and they're her husband's, but she just was tired of carrying them around, and so he must have been about our age because the stuff that he's reading is 70s stuff. Oh, there's a couple earlier. There's a Heckle and Jekyll, New Terry Tunes from about 1970, and a few 15-cent comics, Bugs Bunny, but I've got them set aside. But some of them are torn. There was a Weird War that I already had. Oh, there were a few things that I had. It was weird. When I looked at it, it was very odd. It was like I was looking at some of my own comics, but messed up versions. There was a Star Spangled War Stories with the Unknown Soldier, and he's in the middle trying to break up a race riot between two groups of soldiers. And I bought that one back in 1974. And then there was World's Finest with Superman and Batman's sons. And I think somebody's getting pushed off a cliff. And I bought that when I was a kid. And it's like, but they weren't anywhere close to the condition I kept my comics in. But it was just weird. The ones on top, it was like, I thought this guy bought all the same comics I did. But as it got further down, it was mostly Archie and Gold Key.
Eric,
anyway, I reeled the sports theme. Sorry.
No problem. It was good stuff. Eric, I wanted to show you this. Richard Lane, he's a defensive end for the Cardinals, the Chicago Cardinals. Yeah. And There's some Art Shell and Ray Guy, Rod Martin, Drew Pearson, and Mike Livingston. I'll go quickly through these. Dan Fouts, Larry Zonka, Bob Greasy, Marty Schottenheimer as a player, AJ, I always pronounced it Dewey, John Riggins at the bottom here. Got Steve Largent, Ken Anderson. I'm sure you remember Ken Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Landry, Terry Bradshaw, Jack Lambert, Steve DeBerg, Elway, and there's Mean Joe Green. And
the second Mrs. Anderson was a girl I went to school with and was friends with. And off air someday I can tell you a story.
Mean Joe Green's the guy that did the Coke commercial.
Yeah. So this is all good pop culture.
So
I don't know who did the parody of that Coke commercial. Sorry.
I'm trying to think of that now that you mentioned. Where he just cusses the kid out.
Well, no, what I remember, I'm sorry there's a delay that's probably making me look like a jerk because it sounds like I'm interrupting, but I seem to be on a delay. But the original commercial in, what was it, the 70s? This little kid was wanting to get an autograph from Mean Joe Green, and I guess he was grumpy or something, and then the kid gives him a Coke, and then he's all it's like the Grinch, his heart is warmed. He says, hey kid, and he throws him his jersey, and he's going, all right. And it's like in this parody. I don't know where I saw this, on what show, but it was hilarious. It was done exactly the same way. The kid gives him the Coke, and he drinks it, and then he says, that was funny to me. But I think the bottle hits him in the head, if that helps.
Eric, I would even collect cards from Post Cereal. They're not worth anything. And I thought you'd see this guy here. Here's Roger.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting about Post, they had the rights to show the cards, but like take a look at his jersey there.
Yeah,
anything missing. They couldn't have the logo.
Yeah, so they had to airbrush them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, now Post did baseball cards. It might have even done football cards in the early 60s, and those are valuable.
Oh, well, I loved getting them. And as far as baseball, I have for the Cardinals, a lot of Ray Lankford. And tons and tons of Lankford. But down here in Cardinal territory. And Gratu might like these. These are the presidents.
Oh, I have a bunch of those. Are they from Wonder Bread?
Colonial, yeah. But they're pretty old. I like this one up here. It's the Electoral College. So I like everything. And I think I'm done boring everybody with that. I have a lot of Art Monk stuff. Yeah. That's about all I'll go into. Now, you said while Gratu was talking, you might get some more magazines. Did you accomplish that?
I have not yet, but I will shortly. But so ask Gratu, did you pick up anything today? Because a couple things came out that are actually maybe worth checking out.
No, I didn't see anything. I was listening last night or the day before to somebody's podcast on YouTube, and it might have been a friend of yours, Eric, but he was talking about how the worst comic of the year was X Factor, written by this
that
lady,
was,
and then it's apparently she's doing the trial of Magneto.
that was Wes. Thinking Critical is the channel name.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the guy
that's
that I do.
it, with a white couch in the background.
Yeah, he's one of the guys I do those retrospectives with. But yeah, I said, this came out today.
Oh, here, let me get you on screen.
I'm sure you've seen those.
They don't carry that at my store. They don't carry that. I don't know how to get that. I would have gotten that, but
Roger Stern. You remember that name, I'm sure.
Yep.
And Ron Friends teamed up to do a book called Heroes Union, and that came out today.
I didn't see that either.
I didn't either. My friend
cool too.
Was picking it up, and he showed it to me, and so I went ahead and grabbed it because it's not Marvel or DC, or I wouldn't have. But then that's the problem: Marvel or DC wouldn't hire them. And then there's some that came out last week. Kind of has a little bit of a 60s spy feel, if it, in a modern day. Amber Blake.
That's cool too. None of that was carried at my the store. None of that.
This is the second miniseries. I've never heard of the writer, but Jackson Geis is the artist. And I like the first one. I'm hoping the second one is at least as good. But so I mean that's a huge week of new comics for me.
Yeah, I saw none of that. All I saw was apparently people were buying a Kang comic that has about 40 different covers, apparently done by amateurs.
Aren't they all?
And there was it was like they have something on there like Spotlight or something, and it was explained to me that those are the covers done by newcomers. And then there was the Trial of Magneto, which is apparently written by this woman that has been writing the worst XMen comics in decades, according to your friend. So I was trying to find that X Factor issue in it.
Well, that's the one. She had the audacity to have a gay black character experience trauma, like you do in fiction stories. And the audience that Marvel threw us away to get to read their books gave her death threats. And the book was terrible. And then nobody cared that she killed Scarlet Witch in the same story. But she had a gay black man killed, but he's a mutant and they can just resurrect now, so they don't stay dead. But yeah, I said it's just. But that Trial of Magneto was supposed to be in the next 5 issues of that book, and apparently Marvel said it's not selling well enough. We're going to make it a mini series, so it doesn't have the stink of your series on it. But it's the same writer.
People are apparently buying it.
Yeah, people are not smart, because I'm sure it's terrible.
Yeah. So Scarlet Witch can just be resurrected.
Yeah, right? I think she's already back to life.
So why is he on trial?
I have no idea. I'm sure from one of the 47 times he's turned heel.
I guess if you murder someone and then someone brings them back to life, you still committed murder, technically.
Yeah, theoretically, I guess. There was a comic in the 90s called Hitman, and there was also a comic called Resurrection Man. And the whole point of Resurrection Man was whenever he died, he'd come back with a different power. And they did a crossover between the two. It made perfect sense. And the situation dictated that he needed to have a certain power. So for about 4 pages, it just shows Hitman blowing away Resurrection Man and him coming back Like he comes back and all he can do is make flowers come out of his fingertips. Blam. Then comes back and his power's useless again. Blam. I know it's nothing to do with what you were talking about, but funny as hell story.
Yeah. So have either of you seen any of the new movies or TV shows?
I am so far behind. I just discovered Burke's Law.
Here's
Oh,
Maisie.
cool. I love Maisie.
And I've been in communication with Charlton 66. He didn't show up tonight, but I told him I got a Charlton he might want to get his hands on. It's all about professional football. And, I showed you the
That's
Superman
cool.
earlier. Here's an earlier one. Here's number 60. I'd love to get my hands on that.
Yeah, the kid that played baseball used to be the same kids that read comic books at that once upon a time.
Here's some great Woody Woodpecker. And now they repeat the same gag. So he's going to catch the football in the helmet. So when he plays baseball, guess how he catches the ball? He do it the same way. But now we'll get into the big boys here.
That hurts. I had that book.
You did? Oh, my goodness. What about this one?
No, I mean, it stuck out like a sore thumb. But, yeah, I did have it, and I wish I'd kept it.
Here's Kanga and Roo. Three Stooges.
I'm not seeing the book. I must be played.
Did you see any of them? He might be a minute behind us now.
Yeah, no, auto's off too.
No. What's wrong with my computer?
You may need to step out and step back in. Yeah.
And when he comes back, hopefully tanned and rested and ready to go, I'll go grab some more magazines.
All right. I don't think he fully left. So, of those football cards I showed you, or the few baseball, did you ever have any of those?
Oh yeah. In fact, yeah, that's all. I have complete sets of 69, 70, 71. The first two series of 72 because the third series that I didn't know existed because we didn't get them in my area. Didn't find that out until I went to a sports card show about 30-something years later. But I have a bunch of cards from the 50s and 60s and some other sets from the 70s. I mean, when I got back into sports cards, I just dove in, and I said, now it's, I need this. I need the space. So it's time to divest myself of them. But I have a ton. I mean, I remember when they made the cards bigger. The 65 football cards and the 69 basketball cards. They were like an inch taller than the rest of them.
I think I seen like a Lou Alcindor one.
Yeah. I have that set, and they did it for 2 years. Yeah, and then like I said, I had a chance to get the Joe Namath because that's Joe Namath's rookie card, and it was one of those cases where I had a chance to get it, but I decided to spend that money on more than one card like an idiot. I also had a chance to get the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle for $1,500 once, and again, like an idiot, I passed on that.
No, I forgot to show you my Honus Wagner. Here, let me dig that out real quick. I think you and I are the only two that will know who that is. Well, maybe Gratu knows who that is.
What's the most valuable card, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, Gratu, about this time, I like to show something crazy I've been working on. So, and by the way, I spoke with Captain Strangelife. He had a little procedure today. He would have wanted to come on, but he's going to come on next week. And I'm in talks with Gold Key Geezer to have him come on. His people are still talking to my people. But we'll have as many 4-color fossils on here as we get. We're starting
Eric,
with the
did you
Atom.
say you spoke?
Go ahead, sir.
Did you? I'm sorry, I'm delayed. Derek, did you say you spoke to the Comic Crypt of Castle Hills about coming on live streams and he didn't want to, or one of you did?
He just said he said no interest. He wasn't mean about it. He just said, I have no interest in doing that. So I didn't, because I'd mentioned comments 3 or 4 times and didn't get an answer. I think he finally realized I was going to keep asking until he answered, and that's what he told me. And that's good enough for me. I mean, I'd love to have him come on, because I said he's the reason why we all ended up meeting each other. I would never found you if it weren't for him.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to him about shared memories of growing up in San Antonio. Maybe not necessarily as much just exclusively comics, but maybe I should try as well. But if he said okay to me and they didn't to other people, it might seem odd. Maybe I don't know. I'll try. By the way, this is water. I'm not drinking a beer. It's sparkling water. It looks like beer though.
Do you guys
it
ever
really
collect
does
beer
look
cans?
like a beer can.
No, never.
Asked if you ever collected beer cans when you were a kid.
No.
Because that was real big in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
At least it was up here. I mean, somebody even opened a beer can store. It didn't last long, but and it was, you could still go dig around in weeds for cone tops and occasionally find them, which meant those had sat on the side of the road for about 20 years by then. But
I had a 7-Up bottle from that time period, Alabama versus Oklahoma Sooners, but never beer cans.
yeah, I have a Pepsi bottle from the 75 World Series. I was going to show that, but that would have just been rubbing it in at that point.
Probably.
Man, somewhere I've got a bolo tie with an Indian's head on it that was passed down to me from older brothers, so it may go back to the early 60s or late 50s. And I always loved that head with the big grin.
Yeah,
do they still use that?
Not.
No, the PC police finally got caught up to them. They're changing their name
to the Guardians.
But it looked just like that R. Crumb character, the Snoid, with the big grin. Is that the Snoid with the big grin? But I don't know. But I have it somewhere, and then I've got a little miniature bat that my dad got in the 40s when he was a boy at, I guess, professional baseball game. It's brown, it's short, and I don't know what's written on it. I'll have to go check. I got to find that. I was going to show that, but I didn't have time to find it. But I wish I had more memorabilia from my father and his father.
Yeah, same here. My dad left me a first issue of Sports Illustrated and a Sporting News with the Reds Great 8 on the cover, And then I found out about 3 years after he passed, he had a box of sports magazines, some of which I showed earlier that I never knew he had. Which, I said it was greatly appreciated because I said he didn't hang on to stuff.
Well, let's see if we can agitate poor Eric here. You remember the cover All-Star All-Star number 3 where they're all sitting around the table?
Yep.
All right, so here's the Atom, Sandman, Captain Strangelove, Graphic Man. Here's Eric Breen.
Wow.
Gratu Orlaw,
Oh, shit.
Dr. Silver Age,
Oh, cool.
and Steve, Charlton 66. Together they form the 4-color fossils.
Okay, you absolutely have to make a poster of that.
So, as you can see, I have room for 2 more. I tried in vain to do Jambo, but it's always dark on his face, and he wears that hat all the time. I can never get a good shot of him. And I'm sure there's about 3 or 4 other guys I'm forgetting to. And our foreign correspondent, Paulo Costa, of course. But
He's not a fossil yet. He can't be older than 32.
no, he's more like the Rick Jones for the Avengers.
He's a fossil emeritus.
Yeah.
Eglinton would love it if you put him on there. But yeah, like so when you get those other 2 spots filled, that has to be a poster. I'll blow that up and put it. I'll replace North by Northwest with that. Even if I do have the dorkiest freaking look I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's
Holy
your
crap.
when you're going through all your shelf, everything on your shelf. I don't think you shaved. Your hair's all messed up.
I mean, and apparently I was on a lemons only diet.
But the lighting was pretty good. So, if you want me and Gratu to talk while you go look for something.
Yeah, I will. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
So what are they saying here? Apollo would be Jimmy Olsen. Don't tell him I said that, says Jackson Roykirk.
Yeah. So
You didn't have to bring home those sports books just to put them on the show.
They're actually books that I was interested in. And,
Well, good.
Those wrestling ones. There's a bunch more Undertakers. I just got the first issue. No, I'm not going to get anything I'm not interested in. But that Strange Sports, I just got another copy because it was nothing, you know. So let's see.
Jackson Roykirk looks like 160 Starlog magazines.
I remember buying the first issue of Starlog. That was how you found out about upcoming movie projects in Starlog. Now you find out instantly on the internet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I bought maybe a couple of packs of baseball cards when I was in 4th grade. That was when Hank Aaron was the big thing. You wanted to get Hank Aaron cards. And then I made my own baseball card with my own a class photograph on it. And it's around here somewhere. I think I've shown it before on some episode, but don't ask me which one.
I think there was an ad in comics where you could send your picture and they'd make it into a card for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. So how many of these comics have you altered now? Are you up to a dozen yet?
Oh, I've done little stuff that doesn't blow up very good. And by the way, you check your email. I sent you a bunch of
Oh, it came last night. I meant to tell you. Yeah, or was it? No, it came not last night. It came, or did you send something? No, it came 2 nights ago.
Oh, that was something else. But if you check your
Oh,
email, I've
oh,
sent you a bunch of posters, the pictures,
oh, oh! You
and
sent the so I could have them printed
yeah,
myself instead of bugging
yeah.
you.
And I was just looking around. I found this great Boris Karloff mummy poster. I don't know if you had got, but it's a beautiful looking poster, and so it's in your email.
So if I open up that, it'll have the same resolution as what you created, basically.
Yeah, yeah. You'll have to save it to your drive or something.
And then as the Action Comics on there, the one you did last week.
I think so. Um, and just get you a little drive, a little thumb drive, and
Yeah,
take that to your print store, or
yeah.
I don't know
That
how you.
that that and the Bat Lady. I got to get the Bat Lady cover from the Jerry Lewis movie.
Yeah, but just check your email. There's like two or three emails there. So
Well, thanks, because I never would have known, because I never look at my email except on Wednesdays to get your link to come on the show. I've got probably like 100,000 unread emails. I just can't.
all right, Eric, you want me to put you full screen?
Sure, why not? Now, I just grabbed this and a handful of Sports Illustrated. I don't even know who's on them. We'll find out together. I start off with an old Sporting News cover of Frank Robinson.
Wow.
He was not on many covers as a Red, so this was the best I could do for that. Let's see. Got one, a Sports Illustrated from 1954. I have no idea who that is. Let's see.
What's
There's
the
some
ad on the
pictures.
back? Oh, shoot.
This one, Pedwin.
I saw something that said Rocket, but it looks like
Yeah,
it's
Rocket.
a shoe. It's a shoe brand. Okay.
Yeah. And so we've got a little horse race in here. And what a pair, Chesterfield.
There's an amazing Sports Illustrated from about 1966 that shows the University of Texas at Austin's girl track team, and they've got gigantic hair, and they're about to start. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know that I have.
Oh man, let's see if I can find it on my phone. All right, keep going. I'll find it.
Unnamed bullfighter.
Yeah.
And another ad for Pedwin. This time is a knockout. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Well, they're happy.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, that one's at Hill Price Books, like about a couple blocks from me. That what would you think that's worth?
Oh, I don't know. I'd be amazed if it's even worth double figures. Because generally the ones that are worth more have recognizable sports figures on them.
I just thought it was such a cute cover.
Well, there a lot of them were like that. I mean, they didn't. None of these have the athletes' names on the cover, but you can command a 1955 Chris Craft now.
Wow.
Let's see. This guy is either winning a match or having a seizure. I'm not sure which.
Or both.
Or both. And yeah, I'll see your Chris Craft or whatever that was and raise you a Lone Star. Boating was big in 55. A supremely conditioned athlete here. And a mystery lady smoking a parliament on the back. There's
A balloon?
Yeah. Guess they couldn't find an athlete that week. But this week it's a home run, but Pedwin was dropping serious coin in 1955.
Wow.
Let's see. And then there's is a bird watcher's guide. And take command with a new Dodge.
I dare them to do a bird watching guide today.
Kind of fitting in light of what happened to Chris Bassett last night. Here's Herb's score. And if that name doesn't ring a bell, for 2 seasons, he was Sandy Koufax before Sandy Koufax. He could throw the ball harder than anybody, but he had control from day one. 2 phenomenal seasons. He was the heir apparent to Bob Feller. Then Gil McDougall got him in the eye with a line drive, and he was never the same.
I like the
Bounced around for
framing.
another 5 or 6 years, and
Good halo.
Yeah, it's like they give him a Jesus halo. The press always does that to politicians they like. They always get the presidential seal right behind their heads, so it looks like they have this halo. They do that to Obama and Biden, at least.
And here is an ad for Janssen, where 4 gentlemen are on their way to get the hell beat out of them by somebody. Right.
Yeah, let's see him walk down Chicago late at night.
And for that Alpine vacation that you finally got to take, I don't know if I was sitting there after the scenery wore off, I would need the Seagrams on the back.
Wow.
Now,
Cool.
I don't know who he is, but he was Top Gun. Ernest Burton. Yeah, think about that. There was a time when someone who looked like that could command the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I don't think he was a team owner. Well, I have the Bob Hope, cover from right after he bought the Indians somewhere. Somebody here from an Army or Navy, Don Hollader. And
He's ready to commit murder.
a young lady about to climb into her Dodge.
Wow, that's a great ad.
Yeah, I got to admit the back covers have been more fun than the front on most of these. Jean Bellevue of the Montreal Canadiens. And the 56 model of Chris Craft boats.
Wow.
And let's see.
Futura.
The great John Landy.
I'm sorry, it doesn't ring a bell.
No, and once again, like I said, this might be the most awesome hat I have ever seen. And yes, folks, those are cigarettes. 3 levels of them for, I guess, for the Royal, whoever that dude is there, he's going to be smoking for a while.
I'd rather have his jacket, though.
Yeah. That's worthy of turning into a poster as well.
Awesome.
I'm going to go stand in front of a hotel wearing that.
I've never seen a cigarette fountain.
Like a Motel 6. You just stand right in front of it.
Like a Sergeant Pepper outfit the guy's got on. Yeah, I found the Sports Illustrated I was talking about.
All right.
How Big Hair got these runners on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Let me blow this up a little bit. It's from 1964. They're the Texas track team. Let me show you this other picture that I was, where they're about. This picture is priceless. Look at the hair.
Holy smokestacks.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a color spread on them and some spring 1964 Sports Illustrated. That's an issue I've got to get one of these days. So anyway.
Looks like
I don't think I have that Larry Sonka cover. I wish I did. That might be a contender to Richie Allen, smoking a heater while he juggles in the dugout.
Yeah. I don't know how aerodynamic hair like that is.
I'm guessing they probably didn't have an impressive 1-loss record. But they look good at the debutante ball afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I've shown all the things I was going to show. Looks like Jambo will be on next week, so I'll have a really good show.
Is there a theme next week?
I talked to Captain Strangeliffe. He wants to show some Charlton Space Detective, and I forget the other. I think he's got some Dells he wants to show.
Okay.
But basically, just whatever old comics you have laying around.
Okay.
I hope we didn't bore too many people that aren't real sports enthusiasts, but I could tell Eric and Dr. Silverage were having a blast there.
Well, yeah, I like I said last week, I think,
Yeah.
it's hobby. It's kind of hobby related, and everybody that comes on these streams has a reverence for the past. So
Yeah.
I don't think we really bored anybody. We might not have thrilled everybody, but it'd been different if we were showing stuff from 2 years ago. But I mean, I said, how can you not like those ads on the back of Sports Illustrated?
Right.
Well, when I was driving home listening to the beginning of the show, it's just the enthusiasm is catching. So even if someone doesn't know all the names, or it's like you catch the enthusiasm and it's intoxicating. And it's like, well, I should start watching this. Why haven't I been doing this? And it's like, and of course, baseball is like completely all American. I don't know if they're all taking knees now or not, but that was the American sport, baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and then Chevrolet added themselves into that. But yeah, that's
Rod and I could drive.
It's Americana,
nuts if we got going.
and that's wonderful.
Where could you drive to?
I said Rod and I could drive you guys nuts if you ever gave us carte blanche to go nuts.
But it's, even if you don't know it, it's fun to hear.
It's just like, I think when we get going on comics and stuff like that, I mean, not everybody may necessarily be a Dell or Gold Key fan per se, but you have to appreciate just the history that goes into it. And I think that's something that everybody here has a sense of. So I think it's, like I said, I don't think really the subject matter matters as much as, like I said, the passion and enthusiasm that people talking about them have.
Agreed. So I hope to have the lineup with Captain Strangeliffe, Jambo, possibly Gold Key Geezer. Earlier we had Basil. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool. Yeah, I'll just always be late on Wednesday. It's just the way it is. But I'm going to start working Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday starting next week. So now I'll have Tuesdays free.
So Graphic, how many people can you have on your setup?
I think I can have 6. So
I can have 10, but that's about how many people watch. I don't think they all want to come on. If you pay $24, they let you have 10 on. And they let you change the duck up in the corner to whatever you want and to do a few little tricks. But that's what. Oh, and you have unlimited time, so I can just run 15 hours of reruns. But
yeah, we should do that someday. Yeah, Jackson just pointed out, yeah, if we were into he was promoting the Fred Flicks channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do I'm sure we could fill a stream with
I'd like to interview Fred Flicks. Does anyone know who that guy is? I think he's in South Carolina. He has
there
to
might
be
some information
maybe early 60s. He does videos all about growing up and what comics he bought in what month and it's a wonderful between that Fred Flicks and his other channel Kirby Continuum, and he might have others that I don't. You know about Kirby Continuum, right?
I don't think I did until just now.
Oh shoot! you graphic man, if you can share screen with the setup you've got, right?
Yeah, I was going to look for something else.
I don't know.
Go ahead. What do you want me to
I don't know if you want to do it, but if you pull up Kirby Continuum, it's wonderful. It's just close-ups of Jack Kirby panels with the music of the time. You might want to turn the music down if you do it. Show it. It's great just because it's copywritten, but somehow
I had no idea it was the same guy. I've seen that pop up.
Oh yeah, it's the same guy. Kirby Continuum.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if there's anything on his channel that like an email or something that maybe
maybe comments under his videos, but he would be a great guy to have on or interview. Yeah, I never thought of that. And Eric, I don't know if you heard when I was talking the other night that the Guadalajara guy, Lance Jones, is going to start his own show like in about a week.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and he's going to be unmasked. So, and he's going to have guests on. So I don't know. That should be cool.
There's just not enough hours in the day for all the cool stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, as is, I don't get hell. I'm so far behind on all. Like, I haven't seen any Lokis yet. Yeah, I've
only seen the first one. I watched last week. They had 3 episodes of Teen Titans. I watched those, and I like the show. I mean, they push it too far, like one step too far, always. But it's pretty cool. Stargirl is phenomenal. I think there was a new episode last night. You can get those on the CW app.
Yeah.
And anyone that's watching should watch that whole first season, and there's 2 episodes of the second season. Either of you seen the Suicide Squad?
I have not.
Huh?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't really have anybody to go to movies with. So I used to take my nephew to superhero movies, but he's out of college and lives in Louisville now, so that's not an option. Plus, he's a far.
We just watched it on HBO. We didn't go to the theater.
I don't know where I went wrong.
But there's a lot of fun stuff coming out media-wise, and I don't know when the new season of Better Call Saul is going to start. But
yeah, how do you think they've even come close to announcing that yet? I don't think they've announced a date for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is something else that I really like.
Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, my wife and I love that.
Yeah, so far, I mean, they've done 3 seasons without lapsing into injecting current year sensibilities into it, and knock on wood, they can make it at least one more.
Did you see is it called The King's Gambit TV
Heard
series?
about it. I think my friend
there's a
watched it.
scene. It's really good, and there's not a lot of political stuff put into that. Not really. And it's a really good 60s. And then there's a scene where she goes in a corner store, and I say she's got to walk by a comic book spinner rack. And my God, she did. It's just like, because I was telling my wife, if this is like it was, there's always a spinner rack. And it was a classic spinner rack. And when you freeze frame it, you realize the comics weren't period specific, but they were titles that were out then, like Hot Stuff, and but they just were like not the right decade. But you're not supposed to freeze frame it and study it. But yeah, if they could have found some period comics, but it was cool. Lead Paint is saying it's excellent there. Oh, I wasn't looking at what you did. What is this, Graphic Man?
This is in your email. It's the movie poster. Boris Karloff, The Mummy. I don't know if you have.
I've never seen this. No, it's some newly done thing that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, who did this?
I don't know, but I thought, oh, I got to grab that. So.
No, I've never seen that. This is some recently done thing. The girl's a little bit Frazzetto-like, and it's just that's great. That's a great image. And of course, the advertising material from the period was great too. The thing about the Universal movies, there was a company that re-released those movies in the 40s and I think 50s called Real Art. And the Real Art posters are amazing. So, there's the original Universal advertising campaign, and then there's this even just as amazing different ad campaign from later on when they were re-released about 10 years later. So Real Art. I learned that from this friend of mine that was a huge poster collector.
Well, guys, I had a great time. Appreciate you all coming on.
This was fun.
I have the smallest channel amongst all of you, and you guys honor me every time by coming on. Appreciate it.
Not by much. You're catching up.
Everybody else gets a kick out of it, and they're exchanging recipes in the chat. So that's how excited we are.
Well, I don't know. Should we take that a certain way?
Yeah.
Now I was talking up this stream on. I did a show with a guy named Yul Carter last night on a channel called Fantastic Comics. He owns a shop in Berkeley, of all places. And I was hoping he'd drop by the chat tonight, but he has a very unique stream style, and that was a lot of fun. But so I don't know if we got any of his audience or not tonight, but maybe down the road. I was promoting it as I said, 4-color fossils, and
yeah, that's in the title. So
and I'm looking forward to next week
when I would like to have a TV guide. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm on a delay.
I'm looking forward to next week when I can abdicate my throne of being the oldest fossil in a group called Fossils.
Now he called me. He's
what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't know what kind of delay I'm on, but I interrupt everybody. I wish there was a TV guide for YouTube so I can know when all the shows are on. Because, like, Eric, are you going to go on to another show after this? Because it's like, how do we find all your appearances and all these different shows are on at different times? I wish there was someone who put together some little book to let us know the schedules.
You'll ask me Monday to do Tuesday, so it was a last minute thing. Yes, we do have the Criminal Cast tonight at 11 on Ash on Comics.
Okay.
And I'm going to do my best.
What is
to stay
Criminal
awake
Cast?
to it. It's
What is
it's
that show?
basically- Criminal is the series of books Ed Brubaker's written, where he sets them in different eras, but they all have a connecting theme. And we do about once a month we get together and we talk about one of his books. Tonight we're doing something called My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies. And we're all, there's 4 of us. There's Ash, a guy named Skip and Tosh, a guy named Nalo, and myself. We're all 4 huge Brubaker fans. So, let's just say Ed Brubaker would enjoy this show if he likes getting his ego stroked. Because
I've been picking up Brubaker. I've been picking up Brubaker comics since as now I realize, he was the guy during that really good Captain America period. Yeah. So I've been picking up those comics when I find them. And I guess Batman too, right?
He wrote. He was the writer on Catwoman when Darwin Cook was the artist when they relaunched that in the early 2000s.
Oh, I have all those from when they came out. Okay, that was a great. No one ever talks about that.
No, they don't.
In that earlier Catwoman series, I like that too.
Yeah, a lot of Chuck Dixon and Jim Ballant before he left to do his porn comic. And I'm not making a joke there. He left to do a book called Tarot, which is softcore. I think his wife is the model, so big ups to Jim Ballant. But I think with that Catwoman series, everybody knows the Adam Hughes covers, and Will Pfeiffer, who's also a tremendous comic book writer, wrote a lot of the middle and towards the end of the series, and it was very, very good. So it just the Brubaker Cook just seems to get lost.
And if you follow Eric on Twitter, you won't really find his streaming schedule, but you'll sure find out that the Reds have a terrible bullpen, and they need help, and on and on and on. I think that's the only reason you're over there.
I do get a little salty at game time.
And from time to time, I put Backyard Moments his messages up here, and then I think, now why did I put his on screen? I think he's here just to troll you, really.
No, you know who that is, right?
Oh yeah, it's Venkman. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I do have. I have a couple of good trolls, actually. Not that he's not, but I have a couple guys that. Yeah, there's a guy named Evil Black Cat.
Yeah,
he crushes me on age jokes every
right.
week, and Ken, I told him, I said he does it every week in the auction. I said, the first time you don't make me laugh, I'm going to time you out, and I haven't timed him out yet.
Do you have the ability to remove people?
I'm like He-Man. I have the power. Well, about 90% of us have those blue wrenches. I feel sorry for the other 10% because they definitely have to mind their P's and Q's.
Well, I thought his auction was pretty good last time. I think what helped him when he started early.
Yeah,
I could actually watch the thing. And,
I was showing him some of those posters before we went on the air, and I'm pretty sure I saw drool coming down the side of his chin.
Oh, cool.
Oh, he wants those so bad. But I also want would you be offended if I gave him the shirt?
No.
It is his size, and he is a Richie Rich fanatic. Unfortunately, I will never be able to fit in it. But Eglantine, probably he's a little bigger than me. I didn't realize that because it's hard to tell. But he liked it as much as I did, And yeah, you might get some. I said you might actually see it on somebody if I.
Everything you get, you can do with as you please. It's
Oh hell,
perfectly.
these ain't going anywhere. These are awesome.
Yeah.
Because I've been showing those to everybody everybody I can. I said that I'm just I'm amazed at that stuff.
Of the guys that I've given things to, they all have a different. I've got a chart like Gratu has this, Dr. Silver Age has this, and everybody has a little mixture of difference. So I don't know what everybody likes. So
we like your work is what we like. I mean, it's
okay.
Stuff's amazing.
I like every single one you.
I mean, I'm lucky I can.
I would like a whole wall of it.
There you go in your new house. When you get one, it's going to be a graphic wall.
Yeah.
You'll have to get a 5-sided room.
Oh, did you see Vinkman's comment?
I did, you unappreciative.
These two guys. These two guys come into the store every Wednesday, right? And today it turns out they're brothers. And one of the brothers is talking to me. He says, that guy over there, he's part of the comic book database, an advisor for it or something. My brother, he can tell you who inked every comic in here. And it's like, and he says, we used to run this comic store, on this highway nearby. And then we're talking and he says, I used to work or manage this toy store. And he's, my memories of my childhood are not Toys R Us, because that wasn't even around in this part of the until I was probably a teenager. But I remember in San Antonio, there was a store called Kitty City. And I remember this mall that we started when we moved here in 76. This mall, Forum 303 Mall, had this toy store called Toys by Roy. And it was really cool. In the back, they had all these Corgi toys and James Bond cars and Batmobiles and Batcopters. That's where I bought my Batcopter. And they had Dinky toys and all these painted European knights and soldiers and stuff and model kits. And he says, yeah, I was the long-haired guy in the back, and so we were talking about this mall and the different comic stores that appeared in that mall and how difficult it was for them to tear down that mall because they didn't know there was a big giant, underneath the Montgomery Ward, they had a civil defense shelter they'd built, and they had 6-foot walls, and when they tried to use the wrecking ball, it broke the crane because the mall was like fighting back. But it's just cool to meet the guy that ran the toy store from when I was 12 and sharing all these memories of this mall. And I remember the display window where they had all these Kenner alien action figures. And I said, I remember I was like 12 and I was thinking, how old would I have been in 1978? Well, a little older than 12, 65 to 70, about 13. And I remember seeing, here's this toy in the window of a toy store, but I can't see the movie in the theater because it's R-rated. And I remember thinking, this is really weird. And he remembered all of that. So it's just kind of a weird connection, and talking about the cafeteria at that mall and all the different stores. It was interesting. Yeah. So if anyone lives, oh, wow, look at what we got here.
I found this
like a
as
stained
well.
glass window.
And this, believe it or not, Jack Kirby. But it was retouched by Romita. Apparently, Kirby had robots in there. And Marvel asked Romita, hey, could you put his villains in there instead of the robots? And I think it looks sweet. So
Yeah. Well, it's
I'll have too many posters at this rate.
So what did you add to it? The coloring?
Nothing. I didn't do anything. I just like the Boris Karloff. I just love posters, and I'm starting to become a poster fiend at this point.
Oh, I never saw the Boris Karloff because I was on a delay.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
I never saw it.
Well,
No, I didn't see any of the ones you showed tonight. I think I was like 3 minutes behind. But that's weird the way they painted. It's like his suit is made out of stained glass or something. I guess I'll see it on the replay.
yeah, and they're in your email, so.
Oh, okay. So the complete collection's in the email, right? Up to now, including the All-Star comics?
No, not All Star, but that's pretty recent. Let's see.
Okay.
Can you see that? It's kind
Yeah.
of small.
Like I'm at the eye doctor.
Yeah.
Which one is sharper? This one? This one?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh, Karloff. Okay. Now I did see that. I was thinking you showed a Boris Karloff comic book. There were some
No.
other things you were talking about I never saw, but I did see that. Okay, of course. We were talking about it. Never mind. I felt like I missed something. The thumbnail per poster. Kitty City is wrong on so many levels. Yeah, that's what the place was called in San Antonio. See, that kind of thing I could talk about with Comic Crypt Keeper. Arthur's Toys and Potter's Drugs. I used it with strawberries. And then there in San Antonio, there was a place called Dick's Hobby Shop. And that's where I saw the Aurora display with the torture chamber factory built up with blood painted everywhere. And that, of course, the hanging cage and the Iron Maiden and all that. I remember seeing that as a kid, and that was a life-changing moment. Every so often, you'll see one for sale on eBay. And yeah, I was.
The poster's perfect. Nothing else I could do to it.
Yeah, that might be sacrilege.
Yeah.
How many books have you written, Graphic Man?
8, but some are just for my bookshelf. I wanted a reference to something so I wouldn't have to look it up. And so I actually made a few reference guides, but yeah, about 5 that are readable.
Wow. Are they available only through you, or can you get them on Amazon?
Yeah, I'm self-published. Did Greta get that?
Yeah, she loved it. She loved absolutely. Yeah, that was like
good.
The night that we were on the stream together. What was that, Monday? Or you were in the talk chat?
Yeah, I was chatting.
Went out like about 9 o'clock. I went outside and it was sitting there on the porch. Yeah, it was cool. Thank you so much for sending that.
Oh, no problem. Well, gentlemen,
I was just hearing my wife screaming downstairs, so I guess she's upset at the dog. So that's why I was kind of like jarred.
She probably heard that we were talking about her. Gentlemen, I guess I'll pull the plug now.
No,
I hope you guys can join me next week. We'll have another all-star cast. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's good to talk about sports for a change. I don't get to talk to anybody. Everybody here is all into boating and fishing and stuff like that, which is great. But I enjoyed those Sports Illustrated. Those were great. And the strange sports. What a great thing. Both Gratuz and Dr. Silverage. Absolutely cool stuff. The gorilla sliding into home is That should be a poster. So. All right. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, so Marania's absolutely right. This is like putting peanut butter and chocolate together.
Oh, good. Oh, the dog bit her.
Yeah, I need to probably see what's good. I think get the dog fixed because she's starting to get a little crazy. Oh.
And good night,
The dog,
Basil.
if
What about the dog?
oh if she's awakened, if she's sleeping next to you and she's awakened, she's just like doesn't know where she's at, and she sometimes will go turn into the Trilogy of Terror doll, and then she realizes, oh shit, I'm sorry, I'm with friends, but it's when she's startled awake, I don't know what happened. I need to go downstairs and see. So.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for everything. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel, and happy drawing.
Good night, kids.
All right.